I want to start off this video by expressing my gratitude and appreciation for all the support I got under my last video. There were some of these people, but the reactions I got weren't too unpleasant considering I was an ant calling out the newborn baby stomper virtuoso himself. At the time of uploading my video, I had no subs. Now I have over 100, which is way more than I expected. I wanted to officially set a channel goal, so if you could help me reach 500 subs, I'd appreciate that. Today's topic will be about a few things. Firstly, people might not be aware of this because Drama Droid Commander himself.
Oh, I'm not gonna react to your video on stream. Shrimp, I just want to see the thumbnail. I don't plan on watching your video. There's no way he just copied River's okay, well, yeah, I will not be watching that video.
Claimed he's not going to make a video addressing my well-made arguments, but surely that won't stop him from having his emotional breakdown on stream.
Listen, Shrimp he just got done topping River, right? He just got done topping him and then he did this. He went like this.
I really like your thumbnails. Is it okay if I use the same thumbnails? Is it okay if I use the same exact thumbnail? I'll put lots of pride flags and slurs and I'll do it just like you, Daddy. Daddy, I'll do it just like you. Daddy, oh, you wanna go again? Okay, you wanna go again? Okay, when we're done, how about after we're done with round 4? How about when we're done with round 4 you can show me how to make this video?
Brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, so that's how that went down. That is insane. That is a River thumbnail.
When even his cocksuckers couldn't help but admit I made good points in my video. The reason he's not reacting to my video, according to him, is because
I'm good. I have to deal with one river. One river is enough. I don't need to deal with 2 rivers.
And
you made really good points. Oh, I'm sure you did, man. I can tell by the thumbnail you made really good points. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell by all the pride flags and the Palestine flags and the fucking... You say I virtue signal. What is...
after, I'm going to discuss comments and some misunderstandings under my last video about spooks. Without further ado, let's get into Captain Pisspants. Unfortunately, there's not much for me to go over with this whole encounter, besides his emotional tantrums while a 2-follower account holds his own amongst an army of drama droids and some 30-something-year-old retard.
It's telling me that I fantasize about men jerking off to my wife. Like, what does that mean to me, exactly? Like, what does that mean to me? I live a very happy life with my family. Very happy life. I'm excited to go back to Disney this year. I'm excited for my daughter's ballet recital coming up. I'm excited to go see Big Time Rush for the 4th time. It's gonna be fucking awesome. The worldwide tour. Got a lot to look forward to.
The critical area of Spook's autistic meltdown is what I wanted to address in this video.
That is doxing? What the person said in the comments is doxing. Wait. It's doxing? Okay. So here's a question. Shrimp, okay. So you said you made a video about me, right? If I were to go on your video on a random account, right, and be like, yo, this guy that Shrimp made a video on, his dad is a race car driver, and he took 2nd place at the Kentucky Derby, and SpooknJukes' wife also wants to be a race car driver, and SpooknJukes' old Twitch account used to be Puff Lovely. Is that doxing me? Does that tell you who I am as a person? Do you believe that random chatter? It can help find other personal information. Explain how. Explain how. By saying her dad is a pastor. How? Again, am I gonna Google father is a pastor? Is that gonna take me closer to where she is? I don't know what state she's in. I don't know what country she's in. I don't know her name. I don't know her husband's name. I don't know her dad's name. What do I, how? How do I find it? No, it's not a straw man. It's not a straw man. Tell me how I use that information to find other personal information. Explain. How?
In his fundamental misunderstanding on what the action of doxing is, how it's defined, and what the burden of proof is in a court of public opinion. Spooks goes mask off in his latest video and shows an uncensored screenshot of a comment someone left under his hit piece about Hex Bonsu. Since Cancel God himself already showed this, there's no point in an ant channel trying to hide this information. In Spook's melodramatic River Slander React Cam, he rambles about how this screenshot, which was originally from my video, was censored and made to seem like something worse was actually said than what was said. I know Spooks is going to pause the video here and say,
Dude, you tried claiming it was doxing and it literally wasn't. Like, I can't fucking type into Google. Blah, blah, blah.
Sorry, spooktards. I know your autistic pattern recognition is sounding off after that skit like a George Droid with a Derek Chauvin on its neck.
I can't breathe.
Because Spooks just gave you a similar rundown alongside his ChatGPT fallacies. I'll keep it fresh for you though. Sorry to repeat what you've already heard. I know what you're thinking, so hold your horses. I'm about to explain how it's doxing. I want to clarify, I censored this comment not to make it seem as if it was worse than what was actually said, but because it was bad enough that it exists under his video, and this lady already had to deal with the first wave of Spooks giga cancellation and harassment. Although I can't control what's under Spooks videos or in them, I can control what's in mine. So the censorship wasn't done with the intention of twisting the narrative or making it seem like something bigger happened. It was done to try to protect her in the process of highlighting people's actions and behavior towards her. I know protecting people's identity is a foreign concept to Spooks, seeing as he can never properly blur out names, and he's just a complete fucking moron when it comes to editing or filtering his comments, so we'll give him a pass on that one. In a few words, Spooks claims that
This isn't her address, bro. So it's not doxing, bro.
to define what doxing is, it's to search for and publish private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. PII, or personally identifiable information, is any information that can be used to identify an individual. And I know if I don't read the second portion of this definition, people are gonna have a fucking meltdown. This includes things like your name, address, date of birth, and social security number, meaning it's not exclusively these things, and there's more information that can be categorized as personally identifiable information. Now, I could argue the semantics of this in a 2-hour scream off between a giga chad like myself and a cuck like SpooknJukes, but unlike him, I believe it's counterproductive to harp on the meaning of words while dismissing the actions, and doesn't actually address how problematic the underlying issue is, regardless of what category the actions fall under. Brushing past the reality that these comments are harmful and contribute to a larger issue is an incredibly bad way to handle criticism, especially for a YouTuber with over 150,000 subscribers. The crux of mine and River's argument to begin with was that these comments are an issue, not the technical definition of a word. Brushing these things off because of a difference in personal definition is an attempt to undermine a bigger issue. Spooks knows this though, so he nitpicked his response to distract his audience from the core of the argument being made, which is what's being posted in his comments is damaging to people's lives or careers in some cases. And unsurprisingly, this weak defense worked. Now to explain why the
Not doxing law.
counter argument is so bad and just makes Spooks seem ignorant on the subject of doxing. During his live stream a few days ago, he began angrily lactating in front of 500 liberals because a 2-follower commenter was owning him, and he said this.
If I were to go on your video, right, and be like, yo, this guy that Shrimp made a video on, his dad is a race car driver, and he took second place at the Kentucky Derby. And SpooknJukes' wife also wants to be a race car driver. And SpooknJukes' old Twitch account used to be Puff Lovely. Is that doxing me? Does that tell you who I am as a person? Am I going to Google father is a pastor? Is that going to take me closer to where she is?
Spooks tries to make himself seem smart in the presence of adolescent self-diagnosed they-thems in the process of dismissing a legitimate argument because it challenges what he thinks. Weirdly enough, the example Spooks gave is somehow worse than what was actually said about Hex Bonsu, because you could easily just search up the results of the race, research their relatives, and find the desired person's information very quickly. Which is why I warned him not to be so emotional before responding, but listening is an issue he and his therapist haven't been able to work on yet. Spooks claims that there's really no way for people to find someone off this information. Since SpooknJukes struggles to conceptualize empathy or most forms of logic, let's put this in terms he understands. For the sake of this comparison, let's pretend Spooky Boy has about 1K subscribers and averages about 15 viewers or so when he streams. Also, I won't explain in detail how I found the following information, but I'm only using free methods and public records in a very simple process, meaning none of the following information was obtained illegally or with money. SpooknJukes, he is cringe. Fun fact, his dad worked at a store. And let's not even bother filling in the rest of this, because this is more than enough for me to find out exactly where Spooks lives, who his family members are, and much more. What SpooknJukes fails to understand is having information on the occupation of a person's relative along with what's available on their profile can help narrow in on more sensitive information. To my knowledge, the information that Spooks discloses about himself across his social media platforms is fairly standard, and we have no way of knowing what information Hex Bonsu had listed across her social media platforms because she's unable to be found anywhere. But more more on that later. So for this comparison, I'm just going to use the information he provides about himself, which is nothing too revealing, mixed with a singular hint a drama droid in this scenario gave us. Now, to catalog the information on his profiles. For the sake of this comparison, we're going to ignore any information about his band and all other easy bits of information he has sprinkled in past videos, like his surname. In the past, Spooks has talked about being from the state of California. From information listed on his Twitch and YouTube, I know Spooks is 30 years old and his first name is Logan. So now I know I'm looking for his father, who lived in California, worked at a store, and is related to a person named Logan who is 30 years old. Got it. So now that I know the first and last name of one of Spook's relatives, including himself, I can definitively narrow down where he lives with complete accuracy. With just simple information and free to use tools, I was able to find out where Logan lives, most of the places he has lived, the names of his relatives, his immediate neighbors, his phone number, and cell provider. This isn't all either. I could easily find out way more, like where his children go to school or where they attend extracurricular activities. The possibilities don't end there either. This all stems from relatively simple information I gathered from his profile and a hint from a drama droid, and it took me less than 20 minutes using this information to find out where he lives. Regardless of how, quote, nothing, end quote, you believe information like this is, it can undoubtedly help narrow in on more sensitive information, such as where people live or other private things about them. This information isn't nothing, and it's personal by definition because it pertains to a certain individual. It is about what their relatives do for work. That is personal, and as I proved, can be used to help identify someone. I know most of the Spooks pickle smoochers watching this video are thinking,
What could you even do with a person's full name, address, phone number, phone carrier, or date of birth?
so this explanation's for you. With all the aforementioned information, you could call the target's phone carrier, pretending to be, in this scenario, Spooks/Logan, and request a new SIM under the same number, which is called SIM swapping. With this SIM card, you would be able to insert it into your phone and intercept two-factor authorization codes sent to the target's phone number for things like mobile banking, social media accounts, or any other platform that requires it. You could use this same method to access their email if the two are linked. In the case of a somewhat large content creator, they likely have important tax and financial documents inside their email that have partial or complete social security number information, which you can use for financial and identity theft purposes. After seeing what I was able to dig up on Spooks, and I didn't even go as far as I could have, with one bit of personal information alongside facts he disclosed about himself, imagine what I'd be able to do with this information alongside whatever else Hexbonsu disclosed about herself on her platforms. For example, if she had a Facebook page for her Twitch, all you need to do is sift through her small following because she had 1.4k followers on Twitch. You'd need to look for a married male who's studying to become a pastor, which is information likely to be listed on Facebook, assuming they both had one. And from there, you would be able to quickly find out who his wife is, and through a similar process that I explained with my comparison with Spooks, you'd be able to search through property or marriage records to find information on where they live or other personal details. All because you had this information and knew what to look for. Without this information, you wouldn't have been able to make the inference that this otherwise random guy was Hexbonsu's husband. Now that Spooks looks stupid on this point, naturally he'll retreat and use plausible deniability as a cover.
Well, we don't even know if this information is true, bro.
Let me get this straight. Hexbonsu can't be found across over 600 social media platforms, and all her known aliases don't generate a user result across 2,040 search inquiries. People are offering her personal information in your comments. She was banned the day after your video about her release, and we're supposed to believe that all of this is just an extreme matter of coincidence? SpooknJukes clings onto this weak defense for dear life because it's a vital pillar to the ultimate nice guy reputation he's established amongst his fans who bend over so Spooks can shove his liberal hands up their non-binary asses and puppeteer them like the brainless mouthpieces they are.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof that someone got doxxed? Nobody got doxxed. That was a lie, by the way.
This defense shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, considering Spooks loves his logical fallacies. This type of argument is considered an ad ignorantium, or an appeal to ignorance, which is when someone argues that something must either be true or false simply because it hasn't been proven to be one way or the other. In the case of Spooks, he's insinuating the accusations brought against him are false simply because the evidence which he ignores and pretends isn't sufficient enough or hasn't been proven to be true, then the accusations must be false. This is what he's insinuating, but of course, he'll plausibly deny that too. To dumb this down to a language the bottom of the bell curve Spooks enjoyers can understand.
Bro, Christians are so fucking stupid, bro. They think just because you weren't able to disprove the existence of God means that he's real, bro. That's not how stuff works, bro. Oh my god, thank you for the 5 gifted gave you about 9,000, bro. Also, the guy we're debating right now, bro. Please don't dox him, dude, bro. Wink, wink. I'm totally going to filter my comments, so don't even think about leaving his name in my comments, bro. Wink, wink, bro.
Spooks loves sitting on his high horse and spamming his default defense mechanism, burden of proof. What Spooks fails to grasp is that by framing your argument as we don't definitively know if this is true, therefore it's a lie, you're ignoring evidence of why she deleted her social media accounts to begin with, how, quote, coincidental, end quote, the timing of that was, why facts about Hex Bonsu, specifically information regarding her current and past usernames, would be mixed in with other information unless it was also true, why people in the comments are saying she got harassed / doxxed, and why this person spread this information in the first place. This type of evidence falls under the classification of circumstantial evidence, or indirect evidence that requires reasoning or inference in order to prove a fact. This type of evidence is admissible in a court of law, and especially in a court of public opinion. You're probably scratching your head, wondering how someone so intelligent like Spooks, sarcasm, doesn't know about circumstantial evidence, despite crying about burden of proof so much. The issue is actually very clear. It requires reasoning and inference. Ah, yeah. Spooks is especially not a fan of that first thing. I know critical thinking is hard, and it hurt brain. And like holy water, throwing facts on the Spooks will cause him to have a low-T meltdown and run to his audience of pubescent gaytards who will comfort him by gifting him Twitch bits with their parents' credit cards. There, Spooks, it's okay. Tyrone and your wife are almost finished making you that cream pie you love. We know you'll devour it, sweetie, so wipe your tears and don't get down on yourself. Sometimes we must swallow pills that come from unfavorable places. Although this might not be what comes to mind when you think of doxing, and for most people it isn't, including myself. The wording of this is intentionally vague, but information about Hex Bonsu nonetheless. Again, ask yourself why this person would say these things unless they were true, and why would they disclose facts about her family members' current and past username, and when asked why they felt this information was necessary, they respond with, "You shouldn't act like that." What other purpose would all of this information serve unless it was given to help narrow in on who she is and possibly harass her? Information such as what a person's favorite food is, their favorite color, their dream vacation spot are examples of information that isn't identifiable. Things such as the occupations of a person's relatives, their community involvement, or spiritual practices would be listed in a complete identity profile, whereas trivial facts like their favorite color typically wouldn't be in it. Doxing isn't just posting someone's address, lol. Even if this doesn't fall under your definition of doxing / spreading keyword identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent, even though I proved how simple information can be used to keyword identify people, it's undoubtedly problematic at the very least, and helps obtain access to private information on individuals to harass them, and shouldn't be shrugged off as Spooks did. And that's the biggest issue, not our disagreement on the technical definition, but the fact this is undeniably harmful. In this section, I'll be addressing brain-dead comments left under my last video. I was expecting these types of responses just because I knew Spook Droids wouldn't be able to understand every aspect of my argument without a step-by-step breakdown explaining the nuance and how our actions vary. I want to address these types of comments, that my personal attacks weaken my argument because I, quote, do the same thing, end quote. This simply isn't true. In my video, I never criticize Spooks solely for the action of saying mean words by itself. I criticize Spooks for making personal attacks while claiming his videos are just an analysis of behavior, omitting context from his videos, like with my R Sleepy example, where R Sleepy apologized to Spooks before Spooks uploaded his hit piece on him. Spooks didn't include the fact R Sleepy was apologetic in his video, despite claiming to have taken down a video in the past because the person reached out to Spooks and acknowledged their wrongdoings.
And I took this video down for two reasons. One, the other reason was because this person reached out to me, they were rebranding and they changed the way that they were acting. So that was the second reason.
Like our Sleepy did, but before the video even went up. Regardless, Spooks still made the 9-minute and 44-second hit piece about our Sleepy, even though nothing meaningful actually happened in this whole encounter. Spooks finished off his 9-minute and 44-second hit piece with, "I just wanted to clarify this guy is toxic," knowing he apologized, but choosing to portray him as nothing more than an asshole. Calling someone a cuck in a video isn't the same thing as pretending to be righteous in the process of leaving out important context that would change people's opinions on the person in question, while framing what they did in an incredibly one-dimensional way. Even in my video, I showed that there are good sides to Spook's content. I clarified that he's not a bad person, and at the start of my video, I told people to think for themselves. The framing of Spook's videos, along with other drama farm videos, walks through the process of leading people into how to think about this person. My video doesn't do that. Our actions aren't remotely similar whatsoever. Try again. When I explained this in the comments, people literally tried saying, "Context doesn't matter. GG easy, next bot." With this, there's not as much for me to go over since I'd just be repeating myself a lot. The main areas that I wanted to address though are these points. First, most of the people he calls out in his videos haven't done much at all, but I already explained that in my video, so I'm not going to bother reiterating myself. The eye for an eye treatment take is so mind-fuckingly stupid. I can tell you put a lot of brain power into that one. Please tell me how her being doxxed, banned, harassed off social media is an eye for an eye when all Hexbansu said towards Sanguine was that her VTuber model is ugly and was condescending towards her. This other point is legitimately just a strawman. I never said that. Yes, people's actions are open to criticism, but that isn't the same as having a massive drama farm slop channel make a video on them that leads their audience into what to think about the target by how it's framed in the context that's omitted. For example, if a streamer genuinely isn't a good person, then people should form their own opinions on them based off of first-hand interactions with the individual, not have all their opinions about that person fed to them from a 160,000 subscriber gossiping 30-year-old child who only knows black and white. I already addressed his "this is the same lol" argument in my reply to him, so I'll just read it. I'm not doing the same thing. That's a false equivalency. I'm showing their comments as examples of what happens following Spook's hit piece, not making a 15-minute long video about one person to propagate hate toward them in particular, like SpooknJukes. I'm not focusing on any one individual. I'm highlighting a broader series of actions towards an individual following a video SpooknJukes made about them. And I don't have a massive following that's chomping at the bit to harass someone like SpooknJukes. These smear videos irrevocably hurt people's reputations and harm them in ways that are wildly disproportionate to whatever they did. And the most recent example of that is Hexbansu. And it typically takes these hit piece victims a very long time to recover from the blow to their social appearance. Lastly, there's this ass clown who said that I made good points, plural, in my 28-minute video, but naturally after watching 2 seconds from a video where Spook says, "Not doxing lol," they edit their comment and go back on their statement that I made several good points, plural, because their droid commander, quote, disproved, end quote, one thing out of all the points that I made. This tells you all you need to know about these types of people and how capable they are of independent thinking. Honestly, I was expecting all of the replies / arguments that I received under my video. I wasn't surprised by a single response I got. No one, not even the people who seemingly disagreed with everything I said, could make a good counter-argument to disprove every legitimate point I made. Naturally, they had to cling on to black and white takeaways from my video, which is ironic considering a large portion of my video was talking about how it's important to not be black and white. Any criticism you may have, I already thought of while typing this script. I welcome you to try to disprove my arguments because I will enjoy making you look stupid as I did all these people. You may think while typing your meaningless comment that you thought of some original counter-argument, but I can assure you I thought of that one too. You can't disprove me because I thought of everything and I think for myself before opening my mouth. I have been and always will be 10 steps ahead of any of you who calls me out, emotionally dismisses my arguments, or strawmans my fucking brains out. I am infinitely smarter than any of you drama droids could hope to be. In this lifetime and in a million lifetimes after, I will always be better than you in every way. And if you think I'm being cocky, I'm not.
I don't make mistakes. I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.